that. Okay. Yeah, man. It's going down. So check it out. On here in America, man, in all 50. Okay, man, today we're going to dig into some real stuff that's going on here in America, man, in all 52 states, should I say. Yes, indeed. We got a lot of injustice and a lot of discrimination going on here, man. It's an awful lot. So I know a lot of people have dealt with this in many ways, but didn't know that this is the real outcome of this. So dig into this, man. We're going to get into this right here. It lead. You're going to learn today.
Each step along the way.
What are you going to learn? So
not just the officer, but his manager that called me, the internal affairs department.
Something check it out.
They all trashed everything and said everything was justified.
He's defeated, right?
That's
really hoping.
I hadn't done anything wrong.
So we travel.
This police officer in San Antonio, Texas, stopped Alex Schott while he was driving home from a work trip and ended up ransacking his car to look for drugs.
My name is Alex Schott. I live in Houston, Texas, with my wife and 2 young sons.
Police are supposed to keep us safe, but they should also be held accountable when they violate our rights. Let's roll the tape and see whether this officer complied with the Fourth Amendment. We'll use a reasonable suspicion meter to help us out. More on that later.
So yeah, man, he gonna tell y'all and show y'all how this really go on the scales of the justice that is allegedly supposed to be for you and I. You know what I mean? We're gonna start getting deep. We're gonna have all facts. Like I said, anything that we say can be Googled and researched on some street live criminal stuff or on some just justice, just righteous stuff. So man, stay tuned to the channel, man. And this is for my subscribers, man. We're going to start digging deep. We have some situations going on, some allegations going on due to the fact of situations like I'm speaking on right now. So, man, this is going to be the one, man. This is a must-see video. And please tell a friend. And, yes, indeed. Yeah, we in here. So come check it out. Righteous.
Hey, how you doing, brother? Hey, my name is Joel. I'm with the Bexar County Sheriff's Office. The only reason I'm stopping is when I was watching over there, you were drifting over that fog line. I just want to make sure everything's okay.
Key points. See right here, stuff like this. These are your amendments, and this is what they're supposed to be sworn and under oath to stand and withhold, okay, in all 52 states, not just the state that you're residing in, because this is the constitutional. This is Utah versus amendment. This is your constitutional rights. That means that it is a federal right that federal runs and oversees everything. 2016. So check it out, man. Do your homework, man, because by just being DWV in Amerikkk, the Fourth Amendment is Utah versus lead you into stuff like this, whether you're doing illegal things, whether you're not. They see they have. In this video right here, they had this pulled over a regular citizen that happens to come from the same background that they come from, and they still did him the same injustice that they do to you and I. So keep your eyes open for things like this. Hope.
Police can't just stop and detain you to fish around for evidence that you might be doing something wrong. The Fourth Amendment requires that they have reasonable suspicion, objective evidence that you've committed a crime. Otherwise, they have to let you go. The only reason I stopped you is when I was watching over there, you were drifting over that fog line. Here, the officer said the only reason he stopped Alex was because he was drifting over the fog line. But this is a video from Alex's personal dash cam before he was stopped.
It's good to have a camera. Man, most definitely. Look at him sitting on the side of the road, waiting to find something.
I don't see any drifting there. Do you?
No.
Because we're still in fishing expedition territory, the stop and everything after it violates the Fourth Amendment.
Dig that.
Okay, I'm going to step out and sit in my passenger seat while I do your warning.
What
okay?
fur?
Thanks a lot, man.
When I was pulled over and asked to get out of the car, I was immediately confused because it was not a standard practice from what I've normally experienced with the license and registration
this car is
process.
not the normal car.
Not at all. I was really astounded and very
disappointed.
uneasy.
At this point, the officer orders Alec into his patrol car so that he can issue a warning. But if lane drifting was the only reason for the stop, the officer was required to deal with that violation promptly and then let Alec go.
Correct.
The officer's body cam shows that he ran Alec's license plate before pulling him over. And the incident report shows that the officer ran a background check on Alec less than a minute after they entered the patrol car.
Fishing. Go to the bank.
Alex has never been in trouble with the law.
Go to the bank and
come back clean. At this point, the officer was constitutionally required to issue a warning and let Alec go.
But
he failed. The officer interrogated him for over 10 minutes about the purpose of his trip and whether there were illegal drugs or large amounts of cash in his car.
He's out of pocket.
Alex calmly and truthfully explained that he's driving home from a work trip and there's nothing illegal in his car. In other words, he acts exactly the way you'd expect any normal, law-abiding citizen to act.
Where was your customer at? As far as that place.
Here we go.
When was the last time he came down this way?
This dude's
so check this out. This is just for the record, man. You know, sorry about the interruptions, but here we go. Check it out. He's fishing, and fishing is supposed to be at the fishing bank. And sir, make sure when you start fishing that you have a license. But anyway, we're gonna go into this, man. So he is doing a legal stop, and now he's trying to gain grounds to make everything legit. Wow. And guess what? They don't teach you and I law. So you have to learn law when you are dealing with law. Correct. Or you are studying law. But here we go again. Yeah. Discrimination on the people against the state, government, or whoever this is. See, these things that you're going to learn today is going to show you that this applies to them just as well as they want us to comply to the rules that they set for us. But if you don't know the rules, you just go by the rules that they give you. It's how you get railroaded.
All day.
Houston, so your name is Scott, S-C-H-O-T-T. Oh, shot.
He's trying to check for nervousness.
Date of birth? Has this been your
live? He consent you in the story.
What's your phone number, sir? You live in a house or an apartment?
All irrelevant.
You were working on with your customer here. You brought out the equipment to him.
Now, mind you, subscribers.
Did you go over there with anybody else? Have you ever been in trouble with anything?
Remind you, subscribers, this is supposed to be a stop. Whatever that they say that they stop you for is the only thing that they're warranted to do in that stop. Okay? Because the probable cause law is because he said, hey, excuse me, sir, what did you pull me over for, officer? He says, because of tail light. He says, because of you ran a light. He says, because of the blinker, because of the tags, or whatever that he says. That's the only thing that he's supposed to be searching and seizing is the situation that he said. And that doesn't give you warrant to go in the car, to go in the glove box, to detain me, to handcuff me, or to ask me all of these irrelevant questions. You dig? So get into your law, people. This is your Fourth Amendment. And a lot of times these officers on these streets, they like to break the 4th and the 14th. Why? I don't know. But check it out, and we're going to show you.
Is your what? Is that your mom? Do you have anything in your vehicle that you're not supposed to have? Any
wow.
Any types of methamphetamine.
So this is what you call interrogation. This is
any pills that aren't prescribed.
Definitely
any
unconstitutional.
Oil, wax, anything like that. Do you have any large sums of money over $10,000? Do you have any types of anything illegal? Has anybody asked you to carry anything in your vehicle? And are you the only person that's driven the CL? Okay.
We're now over 10 minutes into the stop, and our meter is still frozen in fishing expedition territory. We're about to learn.
So he got the scale here, and he's going to show you. Okay, fishing, he's down here.
It's prohibited.
You know what I mean? So he where the arrow is where it goes. Now the legal part is nowhere in the picture because the fishing is already illegal. Everything that he's doing is illegal. So there's notice he already started off illegal and he's gaining grounds. So he has a scale here, legal and illegal. You see that it's been down here in this fishing exploitation right here, okay? Okay, so if he has beyond reasonable doubt, he would be up there. So he has no unreasonable doubt. He just has all his reason, and everything that his reason is the doubt. The gap.
Really going on.
What I am is I'm on what's called a criminal interdiction unit, so I don't have to deal with all that crap. I don't give tickets, I give warnings. And the main reason is I sit on the side of the highway and I'm out here looking for, because it's bad out here. So I'm out here looking for big human smuggling, drug smuggling, and all those things like that. So that's what I'm doing.
Here the officer admits the stop was never really about traffic.
Never.
It was about finding big...
Right.
That's a problem. When
Definitely.
police decide in advance that you must be some kind of criminal, whether a drug dealer or anything else, the result is a conspiratorial mindset under which police can spin anything you do as suspicious. Acting nervous? Suspicious. Acting too calm? Also suspicious. Direct eye contact? No eye contact? Talking too much? Not talking enough? All suspicious.
Right.
There really are no limits to what police will argue in an effort to get around the Constitution.
So now you know.
Would you allow me to search your vehicle?
Just saying Mickey Mouse game they play right here.
Okay.
When he asked to search my car, I told him no. I knew I'd done nothing wrong.
Correct.
I shouldn't have to explain why I shouldn't be treated like a criminal.
Exactly.
So
They'll appoint you an attorney, and the attorney will know all of these rules and all these constitutional rights, and they'll still run this Mickey Mouse game in the court. So the judge is allowing it, and the judge is allowing, the district attorney is allowing it, and moving forward with it, and then the public pretender that they give you is allowing it and standing on it and telling you to move forward with it, and it's all a Mickey Mouse game that they play with civilians that don't know law, and they get away with it daily. The only time that you will get any justice if you just hire an attorney that's in your best interest, that's going to stand for you, that's going to move on the ground that you want, and push for a motion to suppress evidence due to the fact of the Fourth Amendment. That's how this whole thing should be gone and settled, and the taxpayers' dollars should not be used to play Mickey Mouse games like this in court with taxpayers. Simple and plain. Knock it off.
what I'll do is we have a canine pretty close, so I'm gonna have a canine come out and do a walk around your vehicle. That way it'll go quicker. But just I have some reasons to believe that there might be something in your vehicle. I've been wrong before, but there's some things I'm seeing.
Did you hear what his words was saying?
Okay, so that
he didn't say he has reasonable.
This is supposed to be a traffic stop, routine traffic stop, and this is America. This is not a third world country. This is not martial law, or is it? This is not the National Guard just patrolling the streets. This is regular, no curfew, regular everyday living in good old America. So check it out, man. Look how they run this stuff. Is this a communist place? Is this a third world country? What is this becoming? You tell me. Put it in the comment box.
Evidence to do it with his reason. His reason is not law. He's supposed to only uphold the reason of law, not the reason of you, not the reason of him, the reason of law. So by law, the law is telling him that he's under oath for, that he is not supposed to take these type of actions during any type of routine traffic stop. But he's out there posted sitting, not doing routine traffic stop, but that's going to be his approach, which is legal from the gate. It's premeditated illegal. You know what I mean? So you got officers like this that's patrolling these areas, these highways, these streets, these blocks, and all of these things. And this is the type of discrimination that you get being anything in America. But if you are DWB in America, you must know these things right here. So we're going to carry on, and we're going to let them sum it up, and we're going to go to another clip, and then I'm going to end this, and I hope that you guys get this, because this is a message for each to know why you are breathing and living in this place that we call America.
You better know it.
That's what we're going to do. We'll wait for a canine. The canine will walk around the outside of your vehicle. If it alerts to anything, then we'll do a search of the vehicle.
What?
Alec refuses consent to search his car. Not because he's hiding anything, but because these sorts of searches can be extremely intrusive and even damage your property. We're now far beyond the bounds of a legal traffic stop, but the officer has seen some things that make him want to keep going. So he doubles down. He calls a drug dog to the scene to see if that will give him an excuse to search Alec's car.
So, here we are.
He's gaining an excuse.
Gaining ground. All from a traffic stop. Led up to all of this stuff here.
you got a positive alert on your driver's side door. Is there anything small that you know of? I'm gonna have you sit in the back seat while I search. I'm not gonna put handcuffs on you or nothing.
Now, for a person that don't know law and see a person that's supposed to uphold the law, and they come and tell them something, all they're gonna do is just abide by what they're telling you. So this is how you end up in the county jail. This is how you end up out of $5,000 to $10,000 because you have to post bail. This is the type of stuff that goes on every day in America. This is how they make their quota. And then, we have July coming up, and in July they get their fiscal. So they want to keep continuing to get the people's money, tax dollar, to uphold things of this nature and expect for us to just sit by and don't speak or stand for the justice that we are supposed to be receiving in these streets of America.
But you are detained because of the positive alert. If we don't find nothing in there, then you'll be good to go, man.
Dig that.
You have any questions? All right.
You already violated him by putting him in the car and didn't place him under arrest.
The drug dog finally arrived, and the officer claims he gives a positive alert.
I bet.
That means the canine officer thinks the dog can smell drugs in the car. If the stop had been legitimate up to this point, then the alert might have given the officers probable cause to search Alekk's car.
Dig that.
But the drug dog never should have been called in the first place, because again, there was no basis for the stop or for suspecting Amerikkk of a crime.
Not at all.
So the positive alert couldn't have cured the constitutional problem. It could only make them worse by extending an already illegitimate stop.
Dig that.
I don't know anything about like how the dogs work, but
he wanted to get in there. He sat hard. That's why I walked away. He started lighting your car.
He's trying to make the guy nervous.
As I was watching them search my car from the back of the squad car,
They can plant things or anything.
opening up the glove box, taking out my tools and my work equipment.
Put this
all
on my
personal
YouTube channel.
property
On my
being searched through.
For the
my
next
social
25
media
minutes,
channel
the
also.
officers ransacked Alekk's car, opening every compartment.
I'm still missing a
tossing
phone
every bag.
and a title.
They find work gear.
But what can you do? How are you going to contact
them?
them?
M&M wrappers, the sort of thing that any American might have in their car. The one thing they don't find is any drugs or any other evidence of crime. Okay, sir. We're done.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you this before I forget.
Yeah, you should. You should have given him his phone.
We took off your car seat so that we could get under the seat.
So guess what? After they do all that stuff, guess what? You get to go back and hunt and look through and fix and clean up all their mess that they made just because they are allegedly upholding the law, but everything that they did was illegal. So why couldn't he?
Now check it out. At the end of this one, we're going to put a twist on this, man. We're going to get it from the horse's mouth, man. We're going to go to Arnold Horseshack. No, I'm just playing. We're going to go to this lawyer right here, man, and he's going to give us some information on how things go. He be beating around the bush a little bit, but now he going to get to the basics of the ingredients, which is the violation of the constitutional rights that has been and always been broken by these situations. So let's dig.
People, you know the truth, man. I'm going to give y'all the real logic behind all of this stuff that's going on, man. So keep your lawyers and your bail bondsmen paid, man, because you never know when you or your people or somebody in need that needs your help. Might need to know these things or need to be referred to these type of things. So, man, check it out, man.
If he's really official.
This guy right here is going to break it down.
You know what I mean?
Here we go.
In the justice system.
As it relates to the criminal world, more specifically traffic stops, but it does bleed into different aspects. So I want to kind of cover this in the best way so that anybody else who's not a lawyer can understand it. And the problem is that
hey y'all, don't he kind of look like Mr. Burns from The Simpsons? Look, he looked like Mr. Burns. Put it in the comment box if bro look like Mr. Burns and everything. Okay, let's get back into it. No, but peep it out though. This is real serious stuff, y'all. So check it out.
Difference between the two is actually, it's a very, very thin line. There's not that much of a difference between the two when considering what's what. So the way it really breaks down is reasonable suspicion is the lowest level of a legal standard where police can really do anything. And the idea is it's associated with a stop and frisk. So reasonable suspicion is nothing more than an articulable suspicion. So it's not a hunch. I mean, when you think of a hunch, you're just saying, that guy looks like he might be up to no good.
And they get you.
That doesn't count for reasonable suspicion. It's just that little step more. So, I mean, the cops will incorporate a whole lot of information that most of the time really is bogus. But for example, you are in a quote unquote high crime neighborhood, which
that's not
for most of us means nothing. That could be my neighborhood that has since been branded by some police officer as high crime, and therefore they now have this reasonable suspicion to do what?
Anyone in that area.
To stop you. They can stop you and say, hey man, you know, what's going on? What's happening here? Now, at this level of reasonable suspicion, that's really what allows the officer to start saying, you know, I want to frisk you. I want to check you for drugs, something to that effect.
Is it legal though?
So it incorporates the totality of circumstances. It's based off of an idea, but something that this police officer has to be able to articulate. High crime neighborhood. The individual potential suspect is looking suspicious, sweating a lot when you're in the middle of the winter, you know, just because the police came up, you know, eyes darting back and forth. These are things, I mean, I haven't described anything that's criminal. Right. This is all reasonable suspicion that the police officer can articulate when it comes down to stopping you. And when that stop takes place, they then have the ability to arguably frisk you, check for drugs, check for
whatever,
firearms, you know, what have you. But the biggest question here for anybody who is subject to a reasonable suspicion, frisk or stop or anything like that is, am I being detained? That should always be the first question, because just because a police officer interacts with you, just because a police officer comes to you and says, hey man, what's going on? Or hey, can I check you for drugs? Or hey, do you have a gun on you? These are simply questions. Police can go around the neighborhood asking people questions.
All day long.
It doesn't mean that you have to comply. And so with reasonable suspicion, this gives them that next step to actually detain you. So it's very important for anybody who's interacting with police to very politely and very calmly ask, hey, am I being detained? If they don't answer the question, you are not being detained and you can walk away. If they tell you that you are being detained, well, the best advice is to comply. Because if they are detaining you and then you start running away, giving reason for chase, you're really only going to compound the circumstances and probably put yourself in some more trouble. So reasonable suspicion is articulable facts that allow this officer to really just stop you, quote unquote, detain you, ask you some questions, frisk you even, check for drugs, weapons, or any criminal contraband. And this is really important, reasonable suspicion alone, you cannot arrest somebody. That's probably the biggest distinction between where we're going next, which is now probable cause. So reasonable suspicion, walk up to somebody, frisk, ask questions. But you cannot arrest on reasonable suspicion alone. Then we move to probable cause. Now this is where things can start getting a little hairy for the suspect, because at the time of probable cause, now we're really invoking the Fourth Amendment of the United States Constitution. You know, we are all free from search and from seizure to be secure in our person, our house, our papers, effects, all those things associated with the Fourth Amendment, and we have that freedom. But probable cause allows the officer to move past that and effectuate an arrest.
But what is this probable cause?
And they can do a search warrant. They can seize your property with probable cause. So this is the idea of how this works. A traffic stop. You know, we always deal with this a lot with DUIs.
I know.
Police officers pull you over, and more often than not, it's for, let's say, speeding or an expired, registration, something that is civil, right?
Right.
They can't ask you to get out of the car simply because they pulled you over. Just because you're there for a speeding ticket, that gives them right to say, hey, let me see your license and registration.
Right.
So they have probable cause at that point, really only to believe that you committed a civil traffic infraction.
Okay.
So they're only allowed to act according to that. So civil traffic infraction. And then what we always see is it moves from I pulled you over for a speeding ticket to now I have probable cause
to search a car
or even reasonable suspicion of a DUI.
Okay.
That's what we always see. So an officer pokes his head in, starts sniffing around, looks at your eyes, they're bloodshot, watery, asks you some questions, you're now talking, and you can smell the alcohol in your breath. You can see that your face is a little flushed, or you can tell that your words sound a little slow or slurred. You are now building reasonable suspicion, which is eventually going to turn to probable cause, and this is how this works. So at that point,
how could it do that?
The officer says, well, why don't you step on out of the car?
Yep.
He doesn't have to tell you why, but in his mind, he has to know why. Well, I smelled alcohol in the breath, bloodshot, watery eyes, slurred speech. It's got that reasonable suspicion that you might be committing a DUI.
And does that fly?
You get out of the car, and he starts doing these tests. The eye test, or he's got that pen, and you're supposed to follow it with your eyes, or the walk and turn, or the touch your nose, or do your ABCs, all of that stuff. What he's doing is he took a reasonable suspicion of a DUI, simply the smell of alcohol, and he's turning it into probable cause for arrest. And that's why we always tell everybody, if you're ever stopped for a DUI, you crack the window, you give them your license and registration, because you don't want to give the police officer probable cause. It's okay if they have, it's okay if they stopped you for a civil traffic violation. They have to let you go, give you the citation and let you go.
Yeah, right.
But the more interaction you have with police, which you don't have to do, gives them probable cause to ultimately arrest you. So, reasonable suspicion starts off with that smell, and then the officer starts doing all of these tests, and he's taking notes. All right, he missed his, he lost his balance on the stand on one leg. He can't touch his nose, right on the nose. He's an inch off.
And then if he don't run that route, where he's going for the I smell liquor or I smell marijuana, then he goes to the point is just to hold you up with small talk, to wait for his results to come back to get your MO, your last record. It could be from 30, 40, 50, however many years ago. Time served, everything discharged, and guess what? He's still going to hold you accountable for those charges. Expect for you to be in society and deal with society, but every time that you are approached by officers in society, they go back and rewind the tape to what happened that you paid your debt to society for already, then put you in a court of law and use all of those things against you once again. So how many times do you have to be punished for the same thing before you are proven that you are paying your offense for your crime? You know what I mean? So how many times do you have to pay for the crime that you already committed and did time for? Okay? So that's where the double jeopardy comes in, people. So this is how they're railroading people every day. You know what I mean? So they kidnap you, hold you hostage, and they push these allegations on you. And who are you to say what I'm speaking when you're not knowing law and you're not able to speak in court, and you are being misled by an attorney that is not of this guy's statute, but of another statute that was designed for you because you are not able to get your own attorney. So I'm going to let him finish up here. It shouldn't be too much longer. And we're going to get up out of here, man, because it's plain and see that the law is not for you and me. They run circles around us.
An arm.
His eyes, he's showing cues of nystagmus, meaning your eyes are showing that you're impaired. Things like that. All of a sudden, he is just putting each one of these things, and he now has probable cause.
What the hell?
So probable cause allows him to do that seizure of you, which is putting you under arrest.
What?
So that's really my attempt to describe the difference between reasonable suspicion and probable cause so everybody can understand it. Reasonable suspicion is good for a stop. It's good to ask some questions, even frisk somebody, not enough to arrest.
Good.
But then they have to start building.
Okay, so we're going to start right here. Like I said, this guy's beating around the bush, and he's telling a good story, but it's his story, so we're going to let him tell it. But if he stop beating around the bush, stop playing both sides of the fence, there ain't no in between. Let your yes be a yes and your no be your no. The whole thing, before you even got to all this other stuff that you're speaking on, sir, Harvard degree, law guy, check it out. From the gate, when you said that they pulled you over for this reason, lights out, bad tags, didn't stop at the light, blinkers, ran a stop sign, whatever infraction that it was a civil infraction that was a civil infraction that was a traffic violation. So he was supposed to what? Write you a ticket. Anything that he did after the fact besides write you a ticket is all voided due to the fact that he is violating your rights, whatever the situation is that he speculated and fished on due to the fact of the Fourth Amendment. Now, I don't know why it's that way, but that's the way that it is.
Okay.
That they do that. But you figure it out, man. This is UGFA, man. We're gonna get up out of here. Enjoy the video. This for my subscribers. Peace.